What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Survivor Now podcast. As always, I am joined by my colleague Nina, and today we have the pleasure to speak with the 10th castaway eliminated from Survivor Australia Titans versus Rebels. Kelli is here in our studio, per se. Kelli, how are you doing today?
Whoop, whoop! Go the Rebels!
Oh my gosh, Kelli, we have been excited. Like as soon as we jumped on today, Nina and I were like, oh, this is going to be fun. We've got so much that we want to pick your brain about. We'll start off with the question we always do, kind of a basic question that we have. How did you enjoy the night last night watching the elimination episode, watching the season back? How did you partake all of this?
It was really fun, I'm not going to lie, to watch it. I had all my friends here. But it was kind of interesting too. I was like, what's going on here? Like, I was a bit confused by the two idols and with some of the decision making. So yeah, I was a bit like surprised. So yes, but it was so much fun to watch back, especially my son's birthday. That was fun.
That was such a cool moment. I mean, what did your son have to say after he saw it all play out? I have to ask.
Puppy. Yes, and my puppy Bob. He was barking in so many podcasts today. I've had to put him away. Look, my son and my daughter, both of them are embarrassed. They want to they've stopped following me on socials. I think they're that embarrassed by me. But no, seriously, don't be shocked. Just for a while their mother just does her thing. No, my son's actually very excited. He's so proud of me, and he's been waiting 7 months for that moment. So I can thank Survivor and Channel 10 for that beautiful edit for my son's 18th, because it was a very sad moment not waking up with my son on his 18th birthday. It was heartbreaking. I'm not going to lie. I was very emotional. So I'm so grateful that my son got to see all of my love pour out to him on that day on TV.
That was very sweet.
I thought it was super sweet, and I actually kind of got emotional. I'm like, this is what mothers do. Like, this is such a cool moment, and it's stuff that we don't always get to see with the edit, because a lot of times it's straight gameplay, and it was nice just to see the tribe come together, celebrate this moment. So we got to get obviously into the game. We have a lot of stuff to talk about here and very little time to do it. Kelli, the first thing that I want to talk about has more to do with the season as a whole. So obviously this season has been very big on Kirby versus Ferris, and you fell on the Kirby side of things up until kind of this final tribal council last night that we saw, which I will get to. I'm sure Nina or I will be asking that in just a second. But I want to know, how did you get drawn to Kirby's side with Scott rather than going with Garrick and Ferris this season? How were you drawn to that side?
So just quickly, the first moment I saw this beautiful, strong Aboriginal woman standing on the beach, staring into the ocean, I said, that is my girl. So I pursued her. And
it's a vibe thing.
Everyone's got to take notes. I absolutely love that. And in terms of last night, we saw this shocking moment where they want to target Ray. I have to call him Ray because everyone does. They want to target Raymond. You did not want to go with this plan. And there was almost like a switch that went off in a sense where you said, I don't want to do this. Why don't we actually talk as a group rather than this is the decision that we're going with? So walk us through. Was that the moment? It's like, hey, they're not listening to me. If they're not going to take my voice into, what we're doing tonight, then I'll go and I'll go with Ferris and his group.
Correct. And that's exactly what happened. Obviously the OG Titans were very scared, being two for their position. So I understand why they were frightened and they wanted to stick like glue with Kirby and Scotty. And, I love Kirby and Scotty. Don't get me wrong. They're beautiful people in the game, and they're still beautiful people now. But at that moment, the rebel has to come out at some point again. And the rebel's like, you're not listening to me. I think we need to take out a big player. And obviously for me, a big player would be an OG Titan. And I wanted to go rebel strong. I mean, the real big player would have been Ferris or Kirby, but we weren't sure about the idol with Ferris. We didn't want to then backfire on us. So, I really don't understand why Kirby didn't understand me, but I think what happened was she was just playing her game, and her game was defensive. Her and Ferris were attacking, then they were defending, then they were attacking and defending, and it was just back and forth thing. And I was just like, I've had enough of this. I'm going to take my control of my game, and I'm going to tell you how it is, and I'm going to save Ray because he's my man.
As you should. And something that I would really like to know, I know you kind of touched on it, but we don't get to see a lot about Raymond. What was it about him other than you kind of feeling like he was a genuine, kind human that really pushed you to put your neck on the line for him?
When I saw Ray, he was quirky. He was different. And, you know, like, I'm a psychologist and I know about different people. I mean, people have called me different my whole life just because I'm happy, you know.
Everybody should be different. I'm just going to put that out there. No one should be normal. Yes.
Exactly. It's so boring, right? That's what I think. Why be boring? You've only got one life. Let's just live it with a bang and go out with a bang when we die. Why not? So I saw Ray and I was like, quirky, a little bit different. I felt like Ray's voice probably wasn't being heard in the game at all, right? I mean, it was probably heard a little bit, but people were annoyed a lot with Ray because Ray was talking nonstop about certain things to do with his music, and I think people kind of dismissed Ray a lot. And I don't like people who are dismissive of people and who are not very nice. So I was just like, oh, well, the protective rebel Kelli in me is coming out because I fight for the underdog from the moment I was born. My family taught me that, which is why I'm a psychologist. And I thought, here I go. There's no stopping me now.
I absolutely love that. And wait, before I get to my next question, can we just all appreciate that Rebel Kel is in all red today? She came prepared, rocking the Rebel still.
And my shorts from the island.
Kelli, you look amazing. I love this. And then you were okay. So a lot of times with the edit, you know, we didn't get to see, they tried painting it as, oh, Kelli is all over the place. You know, we got Hurricane Kelli here to mess things up. But there was a certain point, and I kind of owe you an apology at this point. I think it was one of our recap shows. It was the Tobias and Alex situation where there was a planned vote. Sarah was going to be the deciding vote. And when that happened, when that first happened, I went, Kelli, like I thought the way they painted it was that you misunderstood who to vote for. And so I was like, Kelli, what are we doing here? But then I ended up seeing, you know, when you said they showed the voting confessional, and look, I'm choosing, I don't want to get out Alex. I want Tobias to go home. I thought that was a very underrated move because you said it. You wanted to take hold of your game. You basically sent home who you wanted to, didn't go with the group. So walk us through that, because the only thing that confused us is you said how you felt you could eventually work with Alex. And we did just see Alex at Tribal Council say, you know, we're working on it. We're not agreeing on things yet. Why'd you choose Alex over Tobias?
So I did that decision because all day I'd been trying to tell people who didn't listen to me because they thought I was silly and dumb and had no clue. All day I was trying to say, let's take out the top of the triangle, which is Tobias. I've been trying to tell Sarah, I've been trying to warn her with my fairy tales that potentially I was going to do something, but Sarah didn't sort of understand what I was trying to say because I was being too cryptic. And I just knew that Tobias was the top of the dynamic. If you think about dynamics, he is the top. Alex and Tobias have a very strong connection on the game. Sarah and Tobias had an exceptionally strong connection. So I knew if I take out the top, boom, it's gone. So that split apart the whole Cuddle crew. If I would have left Sarah to make the deciding vote, and no offense to Eileen and my Rebels tribe because I love them, how boring. And how having a minority make a decision on the majority and letting her decide who wants to go home? Nah, we're rebels. Stuff that. We make decisions. And I tried to say, let's just be decisive. That's boring, but let's make a decision. And they didn't want to do that. They wanted Sarah. And of course, Sarah was going to keep Tobias in. That was so obvious. So that was going to be, to me, an exceptionally boring tribal. And I don't like life to be boring. And it was so predictable. And I was like, nah, we're going to spice this game up.
That's
And it was
amazing.
good for my resume post-merge.
No, seriously, it was.
No, it was a terrific move, and honestly, I love that you put it out like that, because if you think about it, Sarah would have kept Tobias. We already heard that from Sarah herself. And then that's still a duo in the game, where
Exactly.
we
It's a
heard
duo.
Sarah say that she wasn't close to Alex. So now if you look back on it, this is why fans, you have to look past the edit, because we can basically say that Kelli split up the Cuddle Crew, because they would have still been tight after. Yeah. If you left Tobias in the game, because he still would have been there, they still would have been pretty tight.
That's exactly right. And you don't want a strong duo like that that's in the game. You don't want it. We know that. And I analyzed dynamics all day, and I just could see dynamics. Every second I was seeing dynamics move and change. And I knew taking out Tobias was the only decision. And like I said, all day I've been trying to explain that, and I wasn't listened to because I downplayed my threat so low that they thought I was stupid, which is okay. I'm okay with that. I love the edit. I love they think I'm stupid, because look how far it got me, and I was going to merge.
Yes. Oh my God, so close. And even just while we're still talking about Tobias and Alex, can you confirm, because while Tobias was on here, he pretty much said, he straight up told you he wasn't really interested in communicating with you, where Alex, even if he was kind of going back and forth with you, he still had, I would say, a bit of banter, maybe not the most positive one, because he was always saying something to you. Can you tell me if that maybe was also a part of it? Tobias completely closed off from you, and Alex, while maybe it wasn't the best, there was still communication.
Look, Tobias was just communicating with one person, and that was Sarah predominantly, and Alex, right? So he wasn't really doing much else with anyone else. That was obvious. The Cuddle Crew was sticking to themselves. He was just sticking to those two people. But Alex and me had this kind of energy, because I'm a very driven woman and he's a very driven man. And we had this kind of energy. And Alex is a bit haughty, and I meet men like that in my life all the time at the gym. So I was just like, I'm going to take Alex down a few pegs. So we started this banter. And we've still got that banter, and it's so much fun. And I love it. And I love it inside the game. I love it outside the game. So I just knew that me and Alex, in real life, we would probably have this great little banter relationship where I'd be going at him and he'd be going at me. And that's what you do in Australia. You kind of take the piss out of each other. So I just knew that would probably be happening with Tobias. Dark horse, closed off, cards were all in his chest. And I'm like, I'm not trusting you, broski.
Mm-hmm.
I think you made the right decision, and I think it really helped your game. And okay, Kelli, we have to get serious, all right? We have to talk about this saboteur twist. Did I say it right? Saboteur? Yeah, I think I did. And where you got sent over to the Titans tribe, you became a Titan, and you had, your job was to throw the challenge. I know you've been asked about this a million times, and I know fans want to hear it. So what happened when you ended up sitting out of that immunity challenge that you were meant to throw? You still achieved it. The tribe lost. You got to join back with your rebel crew. Walk us through that from your perspective. What went down that day?
Well, I told them I didn't want to go. I said, don't send me, don't send me. And they sent me, which is why I said to the Titans, they kicked me out. So I'm a rebel, and I'm like, stuff you. I'll just do my own decision making, which is what I do every single time. And I had to make it look dumb. They actually thought I forgot that it was an immunity challenge. They're like, Kelli, did you forget it was a reward? And I'm like, yeah, I forgot. Yeah. So I was just like, stuff you all. May the best team win. Because guess what? I knew I had great relationships on the Rebels tribe. I was forming great relationships on the Titans tribe. So I was in a nice little posse. So for my game, where I ended up, it didn't bother me, because I know I'm a very social player, number one, mental number two. So I knew once I got to the Titans tribe, my social skills, I could play with them. I'd already started that. And I just thought, let the best team win. Let fate make my decision for me. And you know what? I'm a rebel. I'm not going to do what I'm told, as you see.
The second you guys did go to tribal council and you were told, hey, you get to go back to your original tribe, what was that feeling for you? Kind of what was going through your mind in the sense of leaving them and saying, do I say anything? And then coming back to your tribe and saying, how do I confront them? Because you know they're not going to be technically happy because you sat out.
So if you saw me, I used very important non-verbal nonverbal characteristics in my. I was like, I did this little noise and things like to show the Titans, post merge that I really liked them. I wasn't really sure about going back to the Rebels, so I did that purposely for the Titans. And don't get me wrong, I did like those people. They're very nice. But I did that purposely to secure that position there, that I was like being forced to go back against my will. So that was good psychology. And then when I came back to the Rebels, oh, man, that was so easy. I just acted like, nothing happened. It was so much stress. It was like so hard, guys. Like there's no alliances, nothing. Oh, guys, I was just so stressed. It was so hard. Yeah. So there you go. So that was, really easy for me coming back because I don't really downplay my threat for them thinking that I'm clueless and that I have no idea what's going on. So they were just like, oh, damn you, Kelly. You brought us back nothing. So boring, So it was really well done. It was easy.
So I'm gonna put a situation out there for you. Fun little game here. If JLP said that night, Kelly, you actually get the choice. You can either remain with the Titans or you can go back to the Rebels. At that time, what would your choice end up being? Would you stay with the Titans or would you go back with the Rebel crew?
I'm going to be honest. I would stay with the Rebels.
You would go back to you'd go back to the, okay. Cause that was a big thing that me and my family watching it. I was very intrigued in that. I was like, I wonder if she had the opportunity, if she would stay with the Titans. Cause from what we saw, you were like, they were so nice over here. And especially with what was going on at at the Rebel camp, we saw so many people. It's always Kirby Ferris. I thought there might be a chance you stay over there.
Look, I really like the Titans, and I got a lot of peace there from Alex. I got a lot of reprieve. It was very nice. I got a rest, which reinvigorated me by having my rest away from Alex. But I knew at the Rebels that I have some very close relationships with people. And at the Titans, I'd have to start all over again. And I'd have to create a different character. I couldn't be the silly, fun character. I'd have to be more intellectual. I was probably going to tell them I was a psychologist. I was going to have to play a different character. And I kind of like the fun, silly, character that didn't know much. So I wanted to go back to that tribe. And, deep down in my heart, I'm a rebel. So it kind of made sense to me to stay there.
Well, Kelly, I am also still trying to figure out, this is like the last game question that I have for you as our time's running up here, unfortunately. But I'm still trying to figure out if you have an idol on you or not, because this was another big talking point this season. Does Kelly have an idol? You had the entire tribe paranoid without even doing much from what we saw. Just everyone thought you had one. So how much were you playing that up, going around camp and being like, oh, I might have an idol tonight? And then obviously at Tribal Council, we saw what you and Kirby did where she whispered to you. How much fun was that? And how much did you play it up to try to get people paranoid?
I had bike pants on and I like collecting shells. Had no pockets in my bike pants. So
oh my God.
I was quite happy that they were so gullible. Me and Kirby were just beside ourselves. So we did these little whispers with just a little bit overhearing of an idol, which is why in my Rebel Kel song, I talk about idols because, I just had to like whisper a little bit, have the word idol thrown around, and they were so gullible. It was the cutest thing ever. Like it was beautiful to watch them believe that my shells were in fact an idol. But I mean, it was sticking out like, I can't say how it's sticking out, that saying. It was sticking out so much. Can't mention my dog here. But it was sticking out so much. I was like, okay, well, Curbs is like, Cal. And I'm like, oh my God, really? She's like, yeah. So I think Curbs had a lot of say in orchestrating their paranoia in that as well. So it was so much fun.
Creating that vibe around it. And talking about idols, while you chose to go to the feast, some people chose to go idol hunting. And my one question as a viewer is, did you realize Kirby was behind you while you were talking, or did you realize a little bit later, not noticing that she was there? I'm very curious.
I'm a very upfront person. I'm very assertive. I did it absolutely 100% in the open. I was making sure that that alliance knew that that was it. I was done.
Oh my gosh. I love that. That's like when I go back to rewatch the season, that moment's going to stand out more to me because that's such a power play. And I respect that.
Yep.
Like, not enough players do that because obviously Survivor is a game. You want to keep your cards close to your chest and all that. But I respect this is how it's going to be. And now watching it back, seeing that that's the moment where it's like, I'm done. I'm flipping. Like, that is iconic.
Yep. And I'm telling you all, I'm not hiding. I don't do secrets. I'm telling you all how it is. I'm going, bye-bye.
and Kelli, the final question that we have for you is something we always like to ask. What are you going to take away from your Survivor experience? Because a lot of times Survivor can be much more than just if you go on to win the prize money. It gives you people that you're going to remember for the rest of your life, moments that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. So what will you take away from this? And would we see Kelli play Survivor again? Would you go back out there if they gave you the call?
So firstly, I did this game in honor of my mum who died at the exact same age as I am today. I wanted to prove that I could live on an island with nothing. And I did it. And that was my mission. And that was my purpose. And to take that away is so important that I'm like, okay, next off my bucket list, that's gone. So for me, living on an island with a bunch of people, and I love people. It was so beautiful, such a great social experiment. So the fact that I achieved that and I got chosen by Survivor, I am forever grateful. DF is an incredibly brilliant man, and I am grateful for that. And you know what? When I got off that island, I said to my children, they looked at me with, disgust. I just want to get back on that plane and I want to go right back on that island.
Oh, so yeah.
100%. I would go right back on that island and I would do it all again. And I would do a completely different character. And that's what I love about myself. I'm able to change. I'm able to adapt. I'm able to do whatever I need to do to survive in the game of Survivor. And you know what? No matter how you get there to the end, just get there. That's what I want to tell people. Just get there. Do whatever you need to do. Be as silly and crazy as you need to be. Do whatever you need to do. Just get to the end. And you know what? I didn't, and I'm totally okay with that decision. But if I got my chance again, I will play things quite differently.
And I'm going to steal. That was incredible. And I'm going to sign everyone off with this. I'm going to steal one of the phrases you said earlier. If you aren't inspired by that, and if you didn't like that entire speech that Kelli just gave, you can snuff off because that was incredible, Kelli. Oh my gosh. You are, no matter what anyone says, you are iconic. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You brought so much entertainment to this season. And it was so fun to watch. Kelli, have a great rest of your day. And thank you so much for coming on and joining us.
Thank
you so much. Rock the Rebels! Woo!